So for anyone that has been watching over the past week, I've been on this haul stairs and landing job. You might remember that I had that all wrapped up with paper, all that handrail, because I'd sprayed all the banisters and spindles. It was all bare wood, it was all put in fresh. And this is the outcome of it. All looking good. All looking nice and sharp, just a coat of stain on it. Worth masking up all them spindles. They do sort of come out nice when you pull the tape off. It takes a while to mask it all up, but it's definitely worth it if you're spraying and if you're brushing, I suppose, really. So that's all come out okay. Put the radiator cover back on there. It looks $1 million now. All done. Let's just show you from underneath here. Again, looks great with the tape. Probably little bits that I could dab and touch in, but I always find a lot of time it's like, where do you stop? Quite a bit of that I've held up. That's it, a little bit of overspill. Sometimes with jobs like this, I always think it's, where do you stop? You can always find more on an old house, I think, just to keep going and looking and going. I'll talk to you about that in the van. So just wanted to show anyone that's been watching the finished job, because sometimes it's nice to see the end result if you've been sort of invested your time in watching me do something. So anyway, they'll be back from holiday this afternoon, and then obviously they're gonna have new carpets in here, new doors to match this. So it should look really nice in here. But anyway, I'll see you in the van. I'm just on my way to another job to look at a little ceiling that needs to come down and put a new one up. I just wanted to talk about it for any of you that are decorators, really. Now I've done that decorating job, and the walls on that job were shocking. I mean, it'd been overplastered before. If you've seen my previous videos, I think I mentioned it. And they really were bad, the walls, and then they'd been painted on. Basically, the couple that live there now have only been in that house a couple of years, and whoever they've bought it from, sometimes you go to these houses and you can see that whoever lived there before was a bit of a DIYer, and that's fair enough doing that. But when someone else takes a house over and then they want it to look nice, it's very hard to just make it look nice by going over the old crap that the old DIYer has done. So for instance, that hallway had been replastered. I think the whole house had been replastered. So when it comes to the sockets and behind the radiators and things, it's a real mess. It's that tuck a bit of gear in there with a trowel, hasn't even sort of attempted to brush it in, it's just been left. So when you look down the back of the radiators, it's all shit. Around the sockets is all shit because he never unscrewed the sockets and released the sockets before the plaster went on, and like a proper job really. Down the edges of door frames, above the headers of the door frames, all them sharp lines that me as a plasterer would be considering when replastering as the sort of thing you reconsider. You put tape on, or you just get it right. So now, me as a decorator on that job, I want to make that job look like I would if I'd plastered it. I want it all to look sharp and neat and the lines are good, but you can't get that with decorating. There's only so much time you can spend rubbing down door frames, rubbing the edges of door frames down, sanding down the walls, sanding round plug sockets, trying to lose that old paint texture because they've painted it with like a rough old roller. So in my head, I'm never satisfied with how I leave a job like that, ever. It drives me a bit mad, actually. It brings on like a bit of an anxiety. I'm just putting my last bits of brush on, and then I go round and I look at the job before I go, and there's always something else in a job like that. You look and you think, that could be a bit sharper, that could be a bit better. So you end up leaving that job totally dissatisfied. I am. I'm always under the opinion that the customer's going to come in and go, ring me up. There's some bits here, mate. It's missed. It's not good. It's not sharp. but I don't know what the customer is expecting. You know, if they're expecting like a computer graphic where everything's sharp, dead straight, then that's obviously not a real world that we live in. The real world is, although I'd plastered the ceilings in there, and the ceilings come out fine, obviously ceilings have been freshly plastered. I've had a spray of paint on them, so they look great, they look fantastic. But where the walls then meet the tops of them ceilings, it makes the ceilings look like they're in and out, because obviously the wall's in and out. And that's not so bad, that's Egyptian cotton on white, so the contrast isn't too terrible. But if they wanted like a dark blue against my fresh white ceiling, it would look absolutely fucking terrible. And it's these little jobs that make me think I don't want to do decorating anymore. I only want to decorate what I'm plastering. That's really the bottom line. And then if anything's wrong, it's down to me. But because I'm plastering it and I know I'm going to decorate it, I'm obviously one step ahead, realising the problems I could potentially come across when painting sharp lines and, you know, feature walls and things. So yeah, it's just a video, not a rant, but it's just really, as me as a painter, and I'll hold my hands up, I'm not the best decorator in the world, I could do it to a good standard, but for me really, I'm looking for, when I leave a job like that, I'm looking for total satisfaction and I'm looking for nearly perfection, and you're not going to get it, especially where like, old skirting boards are concerned. Now you've got old skirtings that have had cables pinned in them over the years, they've probably had paint around them cables have been pulled out over the years, so you're left with a skirting that looks like the surface of the moon. Now you can sand that, you can rub it down, you can put a sander on it, but the bottom line is really you want to strip that back to bare again, to make that look anything, or replace it. And if you haven't got the time to do that, that skirting is never going to look good, especially when you really go up close of it with a fine light and look at it. It's always going to look terrible, doesn't matter what you do to it. And I watch these little Facebook clips, these internet clips, and you see these blokes cutting in these skirtings, and you know everything's looking glossy because they've probably got a little bit of additive in the paint to make it all look shiny. But obviously they're only filming them rare occasions when something is bang on. When you're just doing up old properties like that, I wouldn't even show that on even my videos that I put out with me. I didn't want to take anything close up there and show you, because you would have ripped me apart. But to the human eye standing back, you know, looking down at it from an upright position, it looks fine. But as soon as you get down to it, it looks awful. So I go to lock the door and I just go in and have a double check, and I go and have a double check, and of course I'm going to find something, because the nature of the job I've left, there's always going to be maybe a little bit down the edge of the door frame that just needs a little touch up, and then you touch that up, and then you go over the wall, and then you think, oh fuck me, I've got to get the wall colour out again now. Before you know it, you're in this self-perpetuating circle of doom that you can't get out of. So that particular job there, I went in, I had a double check, and then I just walked out. I walked through the hallway and I thought, don't look left, don't look right, don't look up, don't look down, just walk out the door, stop being a fucking idiot, lock the door, put the keys through the door and go. And that's what I did. And now the dreaded thought is, oh, they're going to be home soon, they're going to have a look around and they're going to see all the things that I saw and not understand that you're decorating onto something that's old, and they won't understand that, so they'll be moaning about how straight things are and are. Sometimes I think I should just knock the decorating on the head and stick with the plastering, unless I'm decorating what I've plastered, then I know everything's alright. But anyway, yeah, it's just a little ramble, a little rant. I don't know how a lot of you get on with it. How you doing, everybody? Alright? Now, this is the second job of the day. It's now Friday afternoon. I finished the other job with the handrail on a staircase. Went home. No, I went and looked at another job first. Went home, had something to eat, and then I thought, do you know what? I can't just sit about all afternoon. I'm going to come to my other job, which is this one, which is very local to me. And for anyone that was watching me in the week, you'll laugh. I mean, I was here last Sunday sheeting up all these rooms. because I was going to spray all these ceilings. And after using the sprayer in the week, and it was a bit faffy, and sprayers are good on empty rooms with no carpet, and you know, you haven't got to worry too much about anything. So I've decided, after all this masking, to get a roller out and roll these ceilings. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and this one, which I'm doing the whole room, so I didn't need to mask up. So reason being, I'm not prepared to have any accidents with a sprayer, with hoses running from room to room, because if I was going to do all these 4 rooms, I would have to set up in one room and then pulling the hose out to spray each other other rooms, or you've got to pick up the sprayer with the pot of paint and move that from room to room. And with that new carpet there, I'm just not prepared to risk anything. So I'm just going to put a masonry roller on the roller frame, because they're chunky old R6 ceilings. I'm going to roll around the edge with a fluffy mini roller, a little 4-inch deep pole roller around the edge, because it's all taped up. And then I'm just going to roll it. So sod the sprayer. I'm not prepared to risk anything. So I had a little bit of a blowout earlier in the week between the whip hose and the hose it came with. Pressure built up and it started leaking through the joint in the whip hose. And lucky enough, I had it on an old bit of fleece liner. It was on that, because by the time I'd noticed it, a puddle had come out about the size of a dinner plate. And can you imagine that happening on a job like this? So I'm a bit paranoid at the minute, so I'm going to leave the spray where it is. But that's about it from me, really. I'm going to come back in here tomorrow, and probably Sunday. I need to get ahead in here now, because the people are back from holiday for this job next Friday, so I've got a week to get done, and I've got a little bit downstairs to do as well, so I should be fine. Oh, I've got another job to squeeze in a week as well. So yeah, lots going on, but it's just decorating in here, really. I don't really know how much of it I can show you, so I might film a little bit of it. But anyway, enough yakking from me. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you. I might even see you over the weekend. I might put another video out. Anyway, have a good Friday night. Anyway, at least.